Everything out of me. They gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So, the main objective of this video is not simply to tell you who is on the 53-man roster for the Ravens, though I will of course cover that, but really the main topic I wish to cover are some of the differences and nuances to what the 53-man roster, injury reserve, 46-man game day roster, and non-football injury lists are, as well as cover what this New Year's rule is surrounding the number 3 quarterback position and how their spot is a little bit different on the 46-man game day roster than it has been in the past. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you aren't sure what I'm talking about with all these different rosters and lists, sit back, relax, and let me explain. Hey guys, real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want more, you can head over to my channel and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if you know anyone who is a Ravens fan that might enjoy this video, please share it with them. Alright, let's get back to the video. The 53-man roster is indeed what it sounds like, and the Ravens have kept the following players at these positions. Quarterbacks: Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley, Josh Johnson. Running backs: J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Patrick Ricard as a fullback. Wide receivers include Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, Nelson Aguilar, and Tylan Wallace. Tight ends are Mark Andrews, Charlie Kolar, and Isaiah Likely. Offensive line, they kept Tyler Linderbaum, Patrick McCarry, Ben Cleveland, Kevin Zeitler, Big Sala, John Simpson, Daniel Faalele, Morgan Moses, and Ronnie Stanley. On the defensive side, they have linebackers Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Trenton Simpson, Malik Harrison, and Delshon Phillips. Outside linebackers, they have David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson, and Odafe Oweh. You can include Jadeveon Clowney here if you want. He kind of goes back and forth, even though he's listed as a defensive end technically. For the defensive back and safeties, Jalen Armour-Davis, Arthur Millette, Kyle Hamilton, Brandon Stevens, Rock Yassin, Kevon Seymour, Geno Stone, Ronald Darby, Ardarius Washington, Marcus Williams, and Marlon Humphrey. For the defensive line, again, you'll see Jadeveon Clowney here, Michael Pierce, Justin Madubuike, Broderick Washington, Brent Urban, and Travis Jones. And then for the special teams, they have Justin Tucker, Jordan Stout, and Tyler Ott. So the Ravens have also finalized their practice squad roster, which is made up of the following players: Anthony Brown at quarterback, Melvin Gordon, Owen Wright on the practice squad, including Ben Mason, who's also a fullback. For the wide receivers, they kept Laquan Treadwell and Sean Ryan. Tight ends, they were able to keep Travis Vokolek, which is great. For offensive line, they held on to Sam Mustipher, a backup center, and Tyshawn Manning and Tykeem Doss, who are both backup guards. For linebackers, they were able to keep Jeremiah Moon, an outside linebacker, Josh Ross, an inside linebacker, and then defensive backs, they kept Jeremy Lucien and Darryl Worley. For the defensive line, they were able to hold on to Rayshawn Nichols, and they brought in Bravion Roy, who was also defensive tackle. They're both defensive tackles. So that's all good for the practice squad. But these 3 following players were placed on injury reserve. So the injury reserve players are Keaton Mitchell, Malik Ham, and Demarion Williams, or Pepe Williams. They have to miss the first 4 games of the season before they're eligible to return to the active roster. And when they do, someone that is on their current roster has to be moved off of it, either onto injured reserve, which means they're done for the season, practice squad, or simply cut. Now, the final list that we're going to cover is the non-football injury list, which has 4 players on it. And those players include Andrew Voorhees, the rookie that we picked up in the 7th round of this year's draft, Tyus Bowser, who's an outside linebacker, Trayvon Mullen, who was a defensive back that we picked up, I think last year. He was on the practice squad and stayed on. And then Nick Moore, our long snapper, before we picked up Tyler Ott. So let me just give you a brief bit of information on how the NFI, or the non-football injury list, impacts a player's status with the team. Anyway, this is quoted from the NFL itself. A player would miss a minimum of 4 games if he is still on the NFI list after the mandated training camp cutdown day, which usually occurs in late August, which has just happened. That player wouldn't count against the team's 53-man roster moving to a reserve list. So what does all this mean? Well, to me it means that the Ravens are kind of taking advantage of a loophole that's built into the rules regarding the NFI list. I understand that Bowser has to miss the first 4 games of the season, but he wasn't going to play in them anyway from what I could tell. Everybody saw in that video when he was walking into the castle for the first day of mandatory camp that he had a serious limp and it looked like his knee was wrapped. So he doesn't count against the 53-man roster, which means it saves a spot for somebody else that may have not made it through waivers, like a Keaton Mitchell or Malik Ham. And he can return, like anybody else, from IR after the first 4 games, and all it takes is moving somebody off the active roster. That seems like a really good idea to me. Not him being injured, of course, but that seems like a pretty nice rule for sure that the Ravens have taken advantage of. I guess I shouldn't say it's a loophole necessarily, as it's kind of being used as intended, but it certainly is to the benefit of the Ravens that are able to keep another talented rookie. So another topic I want to talk about was Josh Johnson. I had him being placed on the practice squad, but instead they were able to hold on to him and put Anthony Brown on the practice squad. But Josh Johnson being re-signed after the IR moves makes sense, but his place on the 53 initially didn't to me, even though it should have. When I heard the 410 Sports Talk guys discussing the move as a no-brainer given the Huntley situation, it made a lot more sense. I was reminded of the Browns game a few years back when Lamar had to leave due to cramps. And when he went out, both Robert Griffin III and Trace McSorley went down back-to-back with injuries, and Lamar had to come back in. How I believe the Ravens will play this is that they'll have Josh Johnson listed as the backup quarterback and have Huntley listed as the number 3 quarterback, which doesn't count on the 46 active roster as the new rule states in the 2023 rulebook. So basically, the way the rule is, as I understand it, you have your 53, and that third quarterback is part of it. But when you go into a game day, you can only dress up to 46 players. The exception to that is instead of having those 7 players who aren't counted in that 46, you have 1 player, being this third quarterback, that can still play. So instead of bringing 46, if you have 3 quarterbacks on your roster and one of them is not dressing, quote unquote, they can still play in the event of the first 2 going down with injury. Now, some of the players that we did lose after waiving them during this cutdown process include Christian Welch, Sharp, and Caillou Kelly. The loss of Kelly to the Seattle Seahawks kind of sucks because he was a 5th-round pick from this year's draft. But as I've heard others say, and I agree with, he was a rookie that wasn't as far along in his development as he needed to be to help a team that is not as deep as they would like to be at his position. So they had to go with more experienced players like Arthur Millette than spend time developing Kelly. Losing Kelly won't hurt so bad if Jalen Armour-Davis and Pepe work out, but unfortunately that remains to be seen so far. We have to see if they stay healthy. Anyway, all these moves will work out for the Ravens, and if they don't, they'll adapt and make other moves as they always seem to do. I just know that I'm looking forward to some Ravens football finally after 7 months without it. Minus the preseason, of course. I can't wait to see this Todd Monken offense and Lamar with all his new weapons. I'm excited to go through this season with you guys, sharing my thoughts and opinions, hearing yours, and all that starts next Sunday against the Houston Texans. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm going to head out, but thanks for checking in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.